Miniart 1/35 Grant Mk1. How to paint the tracks. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, it's good to have you with us. I want to start today just with a huge thank you really. I want to thank all of you for pushing me out of my comfort zone and making me make better models, because there's no way I would have done this video before now. I would have just slapped a lot of brown paint on the tracks, whacked them on the tank and called that a day. So thank you. Here's a really big like from me. Let's get on with it. So I started off by actually doing some research, which is something I don't normally do, but I went to the Miniart website, which is amazing. I'll put a link down in the description just to show you, and you can just find anything out about Sherman's. I wanted to see what the blocks looked like and wanted to see how the track was made up, just to make it more accurate to paint. So this is what I found. So the blocks are a block of rubber, and it's on both sides, and just with 4 little spigots coming out, and then the joiner putting on. Right, let's get to it. So I started with the black primer as usual, but I had a bit of a happy accident in the fact that I used an old rattle can that obviously wasn't mixed very well, and it was right at the end of the can. So I've got this amazing surface detail as it's all cracked as it's dried, which is a happy accident because it's going to make the rubber look quite realistic. So I started off mixing a colour for the steel. This was 4 drops of dark grey by AK3G. It was into that was 1 drop of sky grey, and then 2 drops of hull red. And I use Vallejo for those two because they do mix together okay. So there's 1 and there's 2, and 1 on the table for good luck. And then I just put some retarder in there as well so it didn't dry out. So 2 drops of that, that's VMS retarder, and then mixed it up, and that gave me a really nice sort of non-metallic steel colour, with a nice hint of red in there just to show a bit of age. It's quite a nice lilac colour actually. And once that was mixed, I painted it onto the guide horns on the side of the tracks. I just gave them all a really good coating. You can see it goes on really nicely. The retarder makes it a really nice paint actually, really good for brush painting. Okay, so they've had a good coating both on the outside and the inside. Make sure you get it nice even coat over everything, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step, I just wanted to get a little bit of base colour down, so I got a tiny amount of red ochre oil paint by Abtelung. It's the light rust colour. I just made a really diluted wash. You see how much odourless thinners I've got in there compared to paint. So really dilute, and then I'll just paint this over all of the metal bits of the track. It's quite liberally, not being very careful about it. It's just to give an initial colour and just to give it a bit of variation. And you can see as that's dried, it's pulled in some of the crevices, but not in all of them, and it just adds a bit of variety. Next we'll come in with some proper oil paints now, and I'm using Abtelung burnt sienna, which is the dark rust, the one that I've just used, the light rust, and also an ochre colour as well. And I'm randomly applying this to the outsides of some of them. Some will get the orange, some will get the yellow, just really making it random, and then I'll come through afterwards and blend it all together. Okay, here's the blending then, just with some odorless thinner, and just smushing it all. Smushing, is that a word? Smushing it all together and blending it in. Some of them I'll take the paint off completely, others I'll mix it up and really get a variety of rust tones in there. Once this is done, I'll do the other side, and then also the inside of the cleats, and yeah, and the bottoms as well. Okay, so that's that done. You can see the real variety I've got there. Lots of different colours of orange and brown, and it's making it start to look like rusty plastic. There you go, both sides. Time to give the rubber a bit of attention, I think. So my trusted Real Colours rubber black pen. Yeah, I'm sure you could have guessed this was coming, and I'm just going to go over all the rubber pads, both sides, and make them grey, nice and neat. It's really quick and easy. We'll just do the whole lot. And same again on the outside of the track. These are a bit harder because they've got a bit more surface detail, but trying to make sure you get into all the gaps, so there aren't any gaps showing with the light grey. And now they're all painted and dry. You can see quite clearly the result of that happy accident I had with the primer. I would have been really horrified if that was on the body of the tank, for example, but they're on the tracks. The cracks look amazing. Let me know down in the comments if you've had any happy accidents like this. But look at that detail there. It really makes it look like worn rubber. I'm so happy with them. Now I wanted to use pigments. I've never been really good at pigments. I've never been able to get them to work really well. So I had a little play around and I came up with this method. I haven't seen anyone else do it this way. But it seems to work. So there's some pigment fixer that I've just put into that contact lens case. And then I'm going to add some pigments directly into it. This is Vallejo Desert Dust. Just put it in, mix it up, paint it on. Simple as. I did add a bit more pigment than that in the end. And you can see it just makes a really, again, a very dilute wash that we're just going to apply to the tracks. Now I have discovered it's quite nerve-wracking this, because you paint it on and it looks like nothing's happened, and then like a photo developing, as it dries the pigment becomes clearer. So I started off on the inside of the tracks. I don't know how much of that is going to get seen, and I'm just doing the edges because the rubber road wheel would have kept the pads clean down the centre of the track, and then we'll move on to the sides. So I gave it a couple of coats, dried it with a hairdryer in between, and you can see it just starting to come there. I wasn't overly happy with the way it looked, but as I say, I don't think you'll see that. Let's move on to the sides. Now these will definitely be seen. You can see I'm just loaded them up. Some of them I'm leaving it pooling in the recesses, and in other places I'm not. Really trying to get a variety along the tracks. And this should cover the rust colour and sort of blend it all together. Again, using a hairdryer just to speed up the drying process so that I can monitor what I'm doing. Okay, and then onto the inside of the tracks. Needs I'm just covering everything on the inside, all the rubber pads, and again trying to get some pooling in the recesses, but I'm really not bothered, just slapping it on, and then we'll come back and sort it out when it's dry. Again, that's it once it's dry, and you can see how the dust effect has really worked quite nicely. Some of the horns there are quite dusty and others aren't, and it's blended in nicely with the rust, and on the whole it looks really good. Okay, so now we've got to tidy up the rubber. So where the rubber touches the road, it would stay clean, so I'm going to go back over it with my rubber pen, just on the outer surface of the rubber pads, in a sort of double H pattern. Okay, and there you go, there's the finished tracks. Now, to say normally I would have just slapped some brown paint on and whacked it straight onto the tank, but these, it's probably taken me 4 hours to do that process, but the effects are so much better. They look like real rusty metal, and they're made out of plastic. And then one final effect, I'm just going to run over any raised bits with a graphite pencil. This is actually an AK weathering pencil, just to really give that effect of metal. Just adds a bit of sheen and a bit of sort of rubbing effect. I think you can see it there, it's really nice. And there it is on the tank. So it looks really good. I followed the instructions. Did I have enough links? No, of course I didn't. There's probably a gap of 2 links that you can see it at the top there in the middle of the olive green. Does it matter? No. Am I going to tell anyone else? No. I'm going to hang some bags on it. No one's going to see it. The other track was the same. But there you go, look at that. I think that looks really, really good. I've painted the tow ropes and all the tools with the same grey colour that I used on the tracks. Yeah, really happy with that. And I say thank you to you guys for pushing me beyond my limits, taking me out of my comfort zone. It's really helping my modelling, and I hope it's helping yours too. So there you go, guys, that's it for this week. But in the words of Mrs. Rusty Plastic, tank's looking a bit clean. So next week we'll get on to the weathering and the chipping. So I'll see you then. Thanks a lot. Bye.